given Taliban's promises of bringing back stability, bringing back peace in Taliban, they had about only 700 tourists before 2021, and in 2023 we're looking at 7,000 tourists as well. How is this latest attack, this security vacuum that has now been exposed in Kabul, how is it going to hit their credibility and their governance stance?
Well, certainly Afghanistan was not going to succeed in attracting many tourists, because tourists do take a look at the security situation and the internal stability. And this incident, the killing of Sirajuddin Haqqani, would further highlight the lack of the security set up within Afghanistan. It also signals the fact that there are deep divisions which seem to exist within the Taliban network. As I said, Sirajuddin Haqqani had openly criticized the supreme leader, and naturally, there was a large segment within the Taliban setup which was unhappy with this. And some analysts are reading this incident where Sirajuddin Haqqani has been killed in this explosion as a signal from the supreme leader that dissidents will not be tolerated, and that people who try and oppose his leadership, that is the leadership of the supreme leader, will have to pay a price. So it's a warning to Sirajuddin Haqqani. And I think the entire Haqqani faction has to take note of this. Now, as you mentioned, there has been a close relationship between the Haqqani setup and Pakistan. And there are some differences which have crept in between the Taliban setup in Afghanistan and the Pakistani government. So this killing of Sirajuddin Haqqani would also send some meaningful signals to the Pakistan authorities. But by and large, this is more reflective of the internal situation within the Taliban hierarchy, and the signal, as I said, from the supreme leader that he will not tolerate any dissidents from any section.
No, you're absolutely right. General Kulkarni, picking up from where the ambassador left us, what must be going on in the mind of Sirajuddin Haqqani at the moment? I mean, he's pretty much next in line if this was, a targeted killing sort of an affair. With Jalaluddin out of the picture, you've got Khalil Haqqani out of the picture. I mean, the next top shot target has to be Sirajuddin Haqqani. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Absolutely right, Kabir. There is no denying the fact. Taliban is crystal clear that it's sending clear signals to Pakistan, lay off. If there is something that you intend to interfere into Taliban affairs, and this kind of a setting up of saying, wanting to criticize the supreme leader, obviously they have paid price for it. And Taliban per se also, despite what has been said about, I just saw it in the YouTube that cricketers, marriage, this thing, the kind of pomp and show, it doesn't show that it is Afghanistan. And there was quite a few Taliban people over there attending to that wedding over there of a Afghani cricketer. So that is indicator that there is definitely much more than what we read. The media is projecting something. Probably we're not getting adequate information from Afghanistan. But whatever that is, this kind of a fault line exists between the leadership. And this leadership is getting more in Sharia than it is wanting to say what the world expects of Afghanistan. And that Taliban is not living up to that expectation, is in fact going back again to the 18th century. And if that be so, with no women not being empowered, and the kind of laws that are being strictly observed, and this kind of killings now that are taking place, the fight that is taking place between Taliban and its proxy Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Pakistani security forces, all that is happening between the Shias and the Sunnis over there is indicative that there is a lot happening in Afghanistan, and this particular killing is leading to all that. And of course, even they don't want the refugees to go out and be able to say something. They're wanting people back again into their country. All that is happening. I think there is no denying the fact that Taliban, the top leader, being eliminated, and that too so close. It's not so easy to have, even if you're a refugee, I'm sure they would be screening so many people before they go and get close to him as a suicide bomber, and knocking him off so close indicated that there is much more to read into it. And yes, the ISIS network would be working. The ISI in Pakistan has also got a real kick, and so is this Haqqani network. which was interfering or wanting to be seen as little different from Taliban, has also been given a clear signal: lay off or else you buy the same thing. And therefore, not just Khalil, I think even the interior minister should also be very careful. He also just might be on the hit list next. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, General. Ambassador, the refugee angle that General Kulkarni was talking about here as well, and this bombing is actually, both the panelists are right, this is a larger signal. You can't go against the supreme leader, but you've got aid organizations that are working, and they're very crucial to make sure that the entire system doesn't cripple on its own head. Now, international credibility is certainly going to be hit. This is a double-pronged question to you, Ambassador. Firstly, you've got the Haqqanis, you've got Mullah Yusuf, the Hebatullah. This is a triangular contest. So help the viewers with the power dynamics at play and the credibility on the international level that's going to take a massive hit.
As regards the power dynamics, as I said earlier, the Taliban has various sections, and there is a struggle for supremacy. We referred to the remarks of Sirajuddin Haqqani challenging the supreme leader's position and his authority. So there have been indications that there are some fault lines and fissures within the setup. So as far as the power dynamics is concerned, it is evolving. It is changing from time to time. And this assassination, this killing of Khalil Rahman Haqqani could be a signal from the supreme leader to other sections, particularly the Haqqani faction led by Sirajuddin Haqqani, that he will not tolerate any dissent. And regardless of what the power dynamics may be, the supreme leader will try and assert his overall authority and his supremacy. Now, as far as the global ramifications, Afghanistan is unstable. It has been in talks with the Russians, and according to the media, there are some assurances from the side of Putin that there would be some sort of closeness which the Russians would try and extend to the regime in Kabul. But by and large, the Taliban are ostracized. They have not been able to receive global acceptance. So in that sense, they do not enjoy legitimacy in the global power dynamics. They are really supported by just a handful of countries. Now, the Middle East region has been thrown into even more instability because of the ouster of Bashar al-Assad. So if there are events to the east of Syria, for instance, Iran and now Afghanistan, that could certainly impact to some extent what is happening in Pakistan. And naturally, that would in turn have some ramifications for the wider South Asian region, because Bangladesh is also in ferment. So we do not want South Asia to be engulfed with instability. It is already evident in the Middle East. Yep. And if this instability extends to the east, into the South Asian region, it is going to be a cause of worry for us.